pjnet.tv Part 2. It's 9:30 on the East Coast, and we are about to have some fun. Got the bumper running, and our guest is waiting in the green room, and we have a chat room waiting. We're recording, streaming to multiple social media destinations. Let's start the countdown to Studio 10. Well, good evening and welcome to pjnet.tv. I am your host, Coach Prasick, and what a fun time we're having. And I am perched high atop the luxurious Trump Tower, maybe, I don't know, in New York City. Back there, you see it. We're up really high. It's broad daylight in New York City right now, for the record. You can see that. And we are about to have a lot of fun for the next 20 minutes or so. And the way we're going to do that is I'm going to bring on board our guest for this evening, and we will for now just call him the Butterman. Okay, Butterman Donny Willis is in. Actually, you are actually in New York City. That's where you are. But your roots are Louisiana?
Yes. Hey, thank you so much, first of all, for having me on this evening. I really appreciate it.
You didn't have anything else to do?
Yeah, nothing else to do at all.
Until tomorrow morning.
Yeah, tomorrow morning might have a few things, but right now, this is the pinnacle of all pinnacles right here.
Okay.
And thank you so much. But as you were saying, yes, my roots are in Louisiana, and I live here in New York, pastor a great church and some great people, and it's been a fun journey.
I can see that you're having fun, and we'll talk more about your overall happy disposition. But tonight, you're going to, when we get done here, you're going to go to bed early. But you don't live in New York, literally, do you?
No, sir. I live about 45 minutes north of the city. I live in the county of Westchester mm-hmm. County, okay. And just north. It's the suburbs.
It's the suburbs of New York. So, but you're downtown, and across the street. Tomorrow morning you're going to be awakened by the producers, I presume, and you're going to be escorted across the street to.
Yes, I will be heading down 34th Street. Right across from Macys at 8:30 tomorrow morning on the Today Show. I have an interview with Al Roker. And then at 9:30, I've got a cameo in the Macys Thanksgiving Day Parade. And that is going to be a lot of fun. I will be the guy dressed like this big yellow stick of butter. So if you wake up at 8:30 Eastern time and want to catch the Today Show, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I am just insanely curious because you're from Louisiana, you're living in the suburbs of New York. I guess they don't pay you enough to pastor that church, so you had to find some extra work, to supplement your income. You go to Macys and you tell them that you can be a stick of butter? I mean, what?
I wish it was like that. There's a great that our the guitarist at our church in Westchester. He and his wife is actually the executive director for Macys, and through just a conversation and some humor, we thought, hey, Donny could be a clown in the parade. And through a reluctancy, I was like, sure, why not? And it was just supposed to be like a funny thing. Okay, Pastor Donny's going to be a clown in the parade. And it turned into something that oh my goodness, I just wasn't expecting last year. I can get into that story now if you want me to, or I can go it on.
I'm dying to know. This blows my mind. I mean, there must be some serious stuff in here I'll think of while you're telling the story.
Okay, yeah. So, the last Thanksgiving, on the day of Thanksgiving, I hadn't really told anybody what I was doing. There was a part of me that was
not sure I would either.
Do I want to be known? I told my wife before, I said, I had my master's degree by the time I was like 27. I was a full-time lead pastor by the time I'm 29. And now my life is going to be marked by being a stick of butter. like, okay. So I really didn't tell anybody what we were doing. And until the very last second, I was like, you know what? Just lean into it, have fun with it. And I posted one picture, and that was all.
Mm-hmm.
And then as we're running down Central Park West and we're coming to Columbus Circle, Al Roker is standing there doing the weather, telling everybody how windy it is. And somebody with his entourage said, "Hey, Butter, come see." And so I turn around and I go, and he drops some butter puns, and I scream into the camera, and he shoves me away. Says, "Get out of here, you butter." And so I just keep running. Now, in New York, all of your avenues run north and south. Your streets run east and west.
Oh, that's good to know.
Normally on a normal parade year, what they will do is they will take 10 to 15 yards of each street and turn it into a viewing area. Mm-hmm. And so you've got people lined up in the streets or along the street, but they've got it barricaded. Well, whenever the floats are going down, they're just headed straight down the avenue. And so people on the street, they're like leaning over the sides, trying to see in to what's going on. Well, the more I saw those people, I was like, they woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get a really good spot for this parade. They need something more than just seeing a float or balloon pass by them quickly to get down in front of Macys for the TV cameras. So I had made up in my mind, I was like, I'm going to run down every single street and high-five as many people as possible. Not just high-five the people on the avenues, but high-five the people on the streets. Well, naturally, that put me way behind. Mm-hmm. That put me way behind the group, and one of the rules is do not get behind your group. So I've already kind of broken one rule, talking to a TV personality, but he did invite me. And now I'm way behind my group. So I see that I'm way behind. I'm like, okay, I have to sprint to catch up. Well, as I'm sprinting, Al Roker's motorcade comes from the other side of the street right in my path of running. And so I kind of have to squeeze closer to the fence. And as I'm running, I was like, I'm just running by him. I'm literally running faster than his motorcade in a stick of butter that goes below your knees, so you can't really bend your knees. Mm-hmm. So for 2 miles, I've stiff-legged my way down this parade route. And I thought, you know what? I'm getting in his camera. I don't even know if he's live. I don't know. And I just get in his camera and I yell, butter your ham, butter your turkey. We're buttering you up. And then I just fade off. I didn't think nothing else about it. We get toward the end of the parade, and Macys was so kind to let my family sit in the grandstands. And my wife is standing there pretty toward that big green square. She's got big eyes, and she goes, "Donny, what did you do?" And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." She's like, "They're talking about you. We hear your voice. They keep mentioning you. What did you do?" I was like, "I don't know. I can't get behind again. I love you. Gotta go." And so we get back to the staging area where we're undressing and everything. And, at one point, my cell phone, there's no pockets. So my cell phone had fallen into the butter suit, down my shirt, and it was right above my rear. And so everybody that has my number has seen me twice on TV. So the whole time, my back is going zzz, zzz. And so when I finally pull it out, I've got so many texting calls, and it's like, "You're trending on Twitter. You're trending on Twitter." Well, I didn't have a Twitter. And I was like, well, I guess I need to get an account here. So I log in, and I'm thinking I got to respond to everybody. And we ended up trending on Twitter, and a few days later, we're on the Today Show, and Butterman is now a thing. It's been so much fun. It's just been a lot of fun.
Well, obviously, but I'm still trying to imagine. Okay, you made the connection. The guitarist at your church, his wife is in charge of the parade. Okay, so but did you have to go in and talk to somebody? And what kind of questions do you ask? How much experience do you have being a stick of butter?
I did have to go to clown school.
Clown school.
Clown school. Oh yeah, Clown University. They take it very serious. Anybody who's a clown, you go to Clown University.
And what did you learn there?
there's two major things that you kind of learn at Cologne University. Number one is energy, because it is like a 2.5-mile parade.
Right.
And so you have to be able to conserve your energy. You have to be able to know that there's a good chance that you're going to get tired. So they talk to you about exercise, and they talk to you about hydration. They really go through that, because last thing they want is a clown passing out on the side of the street. And so they really focus in on the energy level, how they want you to interact with the crowd. For example, if you're in the center of the street, you need your activity and your smile, and it needs to be big. It needs to be at level 10. But whenever you go down to the side and you greet somebody, you bring it down to level 2, level 1. Hey, thank you so much for coming to the Macys
Okay.
Parade.
Yeah, kind of warm it up a little. Yeah.
And then, so that was the first thing that they really hammered, was energy. The second thing was just cheering others on. They did this really cool thing where after they broke you up into groups, they let you perform what you were going to do in the parade in the middle of the Big Apple Circus in downtown New York. And they really encourage you to just cheer for others, be genuinely interested in others. So they really focus on, with the clowns, they said everybody comes for the big stuff. They come for the big balloons. They come for the big name singers. But what they remember are those little moments, those little touches of a clown walking over and saying, thank you so much. Your presence here just means so much to us. Thank you for taking time out of your day to be here. And people will remember that. Especially
the kids.
Yes. Yes. Can't tell you how many times I stopped and took selfies with people. Will you let me take a selfie with you? Yes. The answer is always yes. I'm glad I didn't do this, but I almost was like, here, let me give you my cell phone number so you can send me that picture. I'm glad I didn't do that, but that was my natural inclination. And because people do sacrifice to be at that parade. People who are out of town, they buy extremely high-priced plane tickets to come stay in a very expensive hotel room. That's, I think, the average. I don't remember, but it's New York City hotel rooms are not that big, and people cram in there. They wake their kids up so early in the morning. They do all kinds of stuff for that moment. And so in my mind, I was like, I've got to give them something worth their time. And that's really where my mindset was. And, if you do the little things well, eventually, bigger, you take care of the little things and the big things will just happen.
This year is certainly going to be a little different, though, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It really is. It has gone from 2.5-mile parade to basically a made-for-TV production. Everything is going to be made for TV. They've actually cut the staff back by 88%. Wow. There's been such a massive. I was telling somebody today that whenever I think about what Macys has done, I think about Lewis and Clark. Lewis and Clark was on a journey, or they were on a commission from Thomas Jefferson to find the principal stream, or to find a waterway from the Mississippi River all the way out to the Pacific. That was the goal. They had to find a connection there. And they assumed that everything on the west side of the continent was the same exact thing as the east side. And so they're traveling along and everything's great. And then all of a sudden, one of the people that were with them made this comment. They said, and we beheld the greatest mountains we had ever seen. They ran into the bottom of the Rocky Mountains. What do you do whenever you've been trained for the river and now all of a sudden you have to become a mountain climber? And Macys, what they've done is they have remembered their why. They have remembered the purpose, which is to bring joy to people on Thanksgiving. No, it's not the river anymore. No, they don't do it the same way anymore. Now they're having to climb a mountain to get it done, because anything in New York right now is like climbing a mountain. But they remembered their why, and they're making it work. And it is such an honor to be a part of it, especially this year, because they're having to do so many things differently. they're climbing a mountain that they've never had to climb before. And I think everybody can really put themselves in that boat. Everybody's having to figure out ways to live they've never had to live before. But whenever you do, you just you go to the trading post and you trade in your canoe and you get some mountain boots and you just climb.
Well, I think your Lewis and Clark analogy is appropriate because they were pioneers. They were very much in uncharted territory, and they were blazing new trails. But they did so in an iconic spirit that makes America great, and it is truly an iconic moment. I'm glad to hear you say that because so many of us. The entire economic cycles and everything's a transaction, everything's impersonal. And it sounds to me like, with all the growth and all the success they've had, they have not lost touch. Their feet are still on the ground. And no, this is not a commercial for Macys. Okay. I don't shop at Macys. I don't shop at all. I've got shirts that are 14 years old. It doesn't bother me. On a more serious note, folks, keep Michelle Medlock Adams in your prayers. She's our normal guest on Wednesday nights, but there has been, I understand, a death in her family. And she, as always makes arrangements when she's not able to be here. I can always count on her. I don't have to scramble around. But the arrangements to connect with you, Donny, did not come through Michelle.
Yeah, that's correct. That is correct. There's a good friend of mine named Cynthia Lovely, who is good friends with Michelle, and them two schemed this whole thing up, and I'm really glad they did. I like whenever people can kind of scheme a little bit, put some crazy stuff together.
What's that spirit of adventure? So you're by yourself tonight. I remember we were kind of struggling the logistics of doing this. You left your family out in the suburbs. You got your kids to sleep, and you're literally in New York City. And how will your day wind down tomorrow?
That's a great question. I guess I'll figure it out tomorrow. So tomorrow morning, I will go down to Macys and I will do that whole thing, be there as long as they need me to be. And then whenever the day is over, I will pack my costume up, put my clothes back on, get in the car, head back, and be dad. I get a whole week with my family. They're all off from school, and there's nothing better than that right there. That's the best.
Now, you say pack your costume. That's your costume?
No. Oh, I'm sorry. No. No, I have to take all of my stuff, stick it in a bag.
Check it back in, yeah.
Check it back in, yeah.
I was going to say, what were you doing with a butter costume? Now I'm really starting to wonder about you. I really...
I'm a fan of many surprises.
Well, I tell you, it's a real joy to just talk with you tonight because you're a very easygoing, happy-go-lucky kind of guy. Not the kind of image we get of pastors. How does your church feel about this?
Oh, my church loves it.
I bet
they absolutely love it. They eat it up. They just eat it up. Number one, it's good for our church. It's good for our church, and I'm glad that they're not embarrassed to call Butterman their pastor. They've been so kind. I get crazy text messages about it all the time, and apparently somebody from our church texted me earlier and told me that Target now has butter Christmas ornaments, and so I need to get a butter Christmas ornament. And they have just been so kind about all of it, and because they have the same heartbeat. Our church has the same heartbeat that I do, and it's simply just love people. And whenever God opens a door or gives you a crack, you just go through it. You don't complain about the door. You don't say, "Oh, I wish it was this or not that," or whatever. It's just whatever God puts in your path, you walk through the door and see where it goes. And what I love about my church is the people in our church has an adventurous spirit. It's I guess you could. I apologize if I'm getting a little too pastory here, but just being spirit led, and whenever the Spirit leads your life, who knows where it'll end up.
Well, I was getting to that. Yeah, actually, you don't need to apologize because, you are a pastor. And I was wondering, how do you act? Are you schizophrenic? Are you Butterman for a time, but then you turn into wearing a robe and a cloth and
what you get. What you see is what you get.
Well,
whenever I was on the phone for the first time, and I love this guy to death. He's one of the producers at the Today Show at NBC. And for one of the first times I asked him, I said, now, I'm a pastor. I hope you know that. And, I'm also the butter man. And I said, but at the end of the day, I'm still Donny. And he goes, we want you to be you. It's like, you are a pastor. There's no reason why you should hide that or anything. Just be you, do you, and people will love you. Mm-hmm. And I remember he telling me that. And here was a guy who really didn't know me. He was just like, you know what? You are who you are. Own it, mm-hmm. and that's okay. And be who God made you to be. And that's kind of what that's kind of the mantra I try to take. Hey, there's only one Beethoven, and there's only one Fifth Symphony, and there's only one Mona Lisa. And there's only one me, and there's only one whoever's out there. You're the only one. So God made you that way, and own it.
Incredible story. Okay, well, Donny, you have lifted our spirits at a time when that was really needed, and I know that you have a big day tomorrow, so we're going to release you to that. Get some rest as best you can, and get buttered up, and we will be looking for you clowning around the streets of New York early in the morning for the Macys parade. But thanks for sharing with us. We really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. And if you don't mind, I'm going to plug one thing real fast.
Do.
I recently wrote a book, and the book is in pre-order right now, but it will be published in February. And if you'd like more information on it, you can go to goodbutterbest.com. And all the information about the book will be there.
Well, just stay here a minute, because I ask you, good, butter, best, right?
Yes, sir.
Just hold on. I'm gonna figure this out. Here we go. You're there and there. Something like that. Goodbutterbest.com, Donny. I wish everything happened so fast. These things happen, but if you would have sent me some artwork, the cover, I could have put that up there, but go to goodbutterbest.com. I just put it on the screen for you and find out more. The book, what's the book about?
The book is about From Dreams to Reality. I take our story about how number one, God called us to New York, and the process that it went through to get here, from living with, at the time, 2 kids. One of them was an infant in a hotel room in Stamford, Connecticut for a couple of months, because that was all we could afford when we first moved here, to being on the Today Show and the journey in between it, and just really shows how whenever you act on faith, God will direct your steps. And so I really dive into what I call the growth cycle of the dream, from a thought to a reality. Everybody has a thought, but how do we make that thought to become a reality? And then I tell the butter story, but the best dreams are the dreams that are beyond us. The dreams that if we were to exit the scene, somebody else would look and say, that dream has to continue whether they're part of it or not. And I use examples such as the moon landing in JFK. He never saw that dream come to pass, but yet somebody said it still has to happen. And I think about Martin Luther King Jr. He never saw his dream come to pass, but somebody said that still has to happen. Or even Walt Disney. He never saw the Florida Project, Florida, but somebody said it still has to happen, and those are the best. And so it's like finding the best dreams.
Yeah. You'll have to go to the chat room. There's all kind of stuff in there. They've got book covers on there now. We've got links to your.
Nice.
Well, Donny, you have raised our spirits. Thank you so much. We've had a lot of fun, and thank you for what you're doing. And go take care of that crowd tomorrow and knock it out of the park.
Go butter. Go butter.
There we go. Folks, that was fun. Okay, the Butter Man, and there you see the view of the PJ Net Eagle's Nest studios using one of our many orbiting cameras that surround our studio. Hey, that will now tomorrow night. We are going to take a break. JD has offered to kind of step aside so that you all can be with your families and not feel like you missed anything here. But we will have a special presentation. We're not going to shut down. Sunbelt Girl, our associate producer, is selecting some patriotic and Christian themed Thanksgiving stories and documentaries that will be here. So if you are out there and not with your family, you are finding yourself alone, detached, or just want to meet with some good family and friends, this is the best place to do that. The pjnet.tv chat room, the best kept secret on the internet, no doubt about it. Folks, before we leave, I would like to challenge you to ask yourself a couple of important questions. First of all, what is the boldest thing you've ever done for Jesus Christ? It may be acting like a stick of butter at the Macys parade, who knows? But secondly, and most importantly, how long ago was that? Folks, whatever we do, we are called to make disciples, to share the gospel, the good news. That can't be done without boldness. So I certainly hope that none of us will satisfy ourselves with either answer to those two questions.